before I get on out of here, I had to talk about a story that's very, very important. And albeit indirectly, it involves Caitlyn Clark, the Department of Justice, and quite possibly the President of the United States himself.
Before I step out of here, I have to dive into something major. This one's not just about basketball, it's about power, politics, and public scrutiny. This involves the WNBA, Caitlyn Clark, the Department of Justice, and, yes, possibly the President of the United States himself. When Congress starts raising eyebrows and federal agents begin circling, you know things are serious. Right now, Caitlyn Clark is in her second season, taking hits like it's a WWE match, and now Washington's taking notice. Here's the big question: should the federal government step in, or is the WNBA just too far gone to fix? Now, the government's watching the WNBA closely, and this all started because nobody thought it was an issue when Caitlyn Clark was repeatedly targeted and physically battered on the court. The league's response? Well, nothing, no ejections, no fines, no suspensions, just silence. So, here's the real question. Can the WNBA survive this mess, or is it too late to make things right? Let's break this down. Let's talk about the elephant in the room, the undeniable impact Caitlyn Clark has had on the WNBA. In just her second season, she's become a household name, a beacon for women's sports, and the reason why millions are tuning into the WNBA. Merchandise sales, through the roof. Ticket sales, jumping. Social media buzz, off the charts. We're talking about a player who has single-handedly elevated the league's profile, putting the WNBA on the map in ways that no one ever expected. But here's the catch. Despite all of her contributions, Caitlyn Clark is getting treated like a liability, not an asset. The WNBA is letting her get hammered both on and off the court and not doing a thing about it. You'd think the league would do everything in its power to protect its biggest star, especially considering the revenue she's bringing in. But no. Instead, they're leaving her out to dry, letting her take hit after hit while barely acknowledging it. The moment they got someone who could drive real growth, real attention, and real change, they dropped the ball. And that's the part that's frustrating, not just for fans, but for anyone who actually cares about the future of the WNBA. Now, here's where things start to get really messy: the WNBA's complete silence on the matter. I mean, we're talking about a league that has watched Caitlyn Clark take hit after hit, foul after foul, and what do? Absolutely nothing. No fines, no suspensions, no apologies, just an uncomfortable silence that stretches on, leaving fans and players alike scratching their heads. The WNBA, under the leadership of Commissioner Kathy Engelbert, has basically pretended nothing's wrong. You'd expect the league to step in, show some leadership, and protect their biggest star, right? But no. Instead, they've gone radio silent, acting like nothing's happening, and that's where the problem lies. When the league doesn't take a stand, it sends a message. It's okay for their stars to get clobbered if it means avoiding controversy or rocking the boat. Sure, the WNBA wants to grow, to be taken seriously, but how can you expect respect when you can't even protect your best asset? Silence in the face of injustice isn't just negligence, it's a statement that they don't care enough to act, and that's what's making this entire situation spiral. And that silence, it's become part of the problem. The longer they ignore it, the bigger the mess gets, and now the government is looking into it. Silence in the face of abuse isn't going to make it go away. It's only going to make things worse. Let's break down what triggered all of this, because let's be real, Caitlyn Clark's treatment didn't just come out of nowhere. There were key moments, specific incidents that made the WNBA's silence not just suspicious, but downright dangerous. First up, we have Kennedy Carter's infamous blindside hit on Caitlyn. This wasn't a typical basketball move, this was a full-blown cheap shot, made when the ball wasn't even in play. It was the kind of hit you might expect from a street brawl, not a professional basketball game. And what did the league do about it? Nothing. No flagrant foul, no suspension, not even a statement. Just another moment left to fade into the background. Then there's Diamond DeShields, who didn't just play defense, she played linebacker. The kind of hit that made you wonder if she was trying to knock Caitlyn out of the game entirely. Again, no punishment, just another moment of brutality glossed over as part of the game. And don't forget Marina Mabrey. What she did looked more like assault than anything you'd expect on a basketball court. Full body shoves, elbows flying, and once again, no ejection, no fine, nothing. It was like the league was pretending these weren't even happening, like they were scared to address the elephant in the room. Oh, and there was a Tina Charles sneak punch to the back. Yet, the league continued to act as if nothing was out of the ordinary. These weren't basketball plays. These were premeditated, off-ball, full-body shoves that crossed the line into something far more dangerous. But the WNBA's leadership chose to ignore it all, hoping it would just blow over. Now, that's how you go from bad optics to a full-blown federal investigation. Let's talk about money, because that's at the heart of this mess. Caitlyn Clark isn't just a player, she's the WNBA's most valuable asset. Her impact is undeniable. Merchandise sales up 600%, Fever viewership up 170%, and skyrocketing ticket sales and social media buzz. Caitlyn is driving the WNBA's growth. But here's the problem. The league wants all the benefits of her star power without taking on the responsibility of protecting her. They're more focused on the revenue she brings in than actually ensuring her safety on the court. It's cheaper for them to let her take the hits than to risk controversy by suspending players or issuing fines. The WNBA is treating Caitlyn like a cash cow, but at some point, this approach is going to backfire. You can't profit off a player's fame while letting her get targeted every game. This isn't just bad business, it's bad ethics, and it's going to catch up with them. Now, let's take a turn into the political side of things because this mess is catching the attention of more than just basketball fans. Indiana Senator Jim Banks isn't standing idly by. He sent a letter to the WNBA demanding answers as to why Caitlyn Clark isn't being protected from the physical abuse she's been enduring on the court. And no, this wasn't some fluffy PR request. It was an official letter from Congress asking why the league keeps ignoring the foul play targeting one of its biggest stars. But it doesn't stop there. Media figures like Stephen A. Smith are jumping in, warning that the WNBA could soon face a federal investigation. And believe it or not, even Donald Trump could turn this into a political issue, rallying support by defending Caitlyn. The league might think they can continue to ignore the problem, but they're wrong. When lawmakers, media personalities, and even potential presidential candidates start weighing in, this goes beyond basketball. The WNBA is now in the spotlight, and it's not the kind of attention they want. Now, this is where things take a serious turn. The issue at hand isn't just bad officiating or missed calls, this is about potential civil rights violations. When players are repeatedly targeted with no repercussions, it raises questions about whether Caitlyn Clark's rights are being violated. And when you bring in the Department of Justice, well, now it's a whole different ballgame. There are deeper issues at play here. Caitlyn, a white straight player, has become a target for some simply because of her success, her marketability, and yes, her popularity. It's not just about the physical abuse anymore, it's about a toxic culture where some feel threatened by her rise. Former players like Candace Wiggins have spoken out about being bullied for their identities, and now Caitlyn is facing similar treatment. This goes beyond the court. It's personal. It's discrimination, and it's being ignored by the league. The fact that the DOJ is now circling this issue isn't a coincidence. You mix discrimination, physical abuse, and a league that's doing nothing about it, and you have a situation that's ripe for legal action. The silence from the WNBA leadership, it's not just bad management, it's potentially a violation of civil rights, and that could turn into a legal nightmare for the league. Now, let's take a moment to hear from those who know Caitlyn the best, her teammates, and what they have to say about her treatment on and off the court is telling. Sophie Cunningham, who once played against Caitlyn, has spoken up about how the league has failed to protect its star. She openly admitted that during her time in Phoenix, she and her teammates discussed how tough they were going to play against Caitlyn. But now, seeing it from the other side, she agrees it's gone too far. And it's not just Sophie. Other players have weighed in too. The idea that Caitlyn is being targeted isn't some conspiracy, it's the reality of the league. When even Caitlyn's teammates are acknowledging that the abuse is out of hand, it should raise red flags for the WNBA leadership. At this point, when your own teammates are calling out the unfair treatment of a fellow player, the league has no excuse for remaining silent. This isn't just one player's problem anymore. It's a league-wide issue, and the fact that Caitlyn's own teammates are speaking out only highlights how deep the problem goes. So, where does this all leave us? The WNBA is at a crossroads, and the path they take from here could define the future of the league. They've had every chance to fix this, to protect Caitlyn Clark, to make it clear that targeting their stars won't be tolerated. But instead, they've let the problem fester, hoping it would go away. Now, they're facing the consequences: federal scrutiny, public backlash, and a growing legal storm that won't be ignored. Caitlyn Clark has changed the game. She's brought new eyes to the WNBA, sparked interest from fans who never cared before, and made history as one of the most marketable athletes in women's sports. But if the WNBA continues to ignore her treatment, they risk losing more than just their biggest star. They risk losing the trust of their fans, their players, and their future. The league has two options. They can step up, protect their players, and show they are capable of handling the responsibility that comes with fame. Or they can keep allowing this to spiral until the next meeting is in a courtroom, not on a basketball court. The choice is theirs. And as for Caitlyn Clark, she's not going anywhere. She'll continue to dominate on the court. And if the WNBA doesn't act now, they'll find out the hard way that no one, not even the biggest star, can play forever without protection. It's time for the WNBA to choose: protect your players or face the consequences. The clock is ticking.